start recording it. Okay.
The email, I mean, what we were talking about last night about the assignment that's due tonight, you said that there is a text that we can put in all the...
Yes. Okay. So why don't I go ahead and share my screen?
Okay.
And then we'll just go ahead and...
the lab.
I think it's this one. There we go. Okay. So, oh, good. We've got more people. Hi, Elmira. Hi, Stephanie. Woohoo. All right. So I am recording this so that other students can have access to this. So for the assignment tonight, right? So the assignment that's due tonight, the lab number 2, let's go ahead and open that. Oh, wait. I have to go back. And I have to be in, hold on. I need to be in student view. I forgot. Okay. So lab number 2 is right here. All right, so as you know, you need to hit the submit assignment in order to start doing the assignment, right?
Oh.
That's the first thing. Okay. And so I would suggest, I'm going to go all the way up to the top here. My suggestion would be to just copy paste everything.
Oh.
Let's go ahead and copy paste. My computer's a little slow. I don't know why it's doing this, but this is going to take a while. Hold on. No, that's not working. Why is it so slow? That's weird. All right. We'll just slowly do this. Maybe I'm not going to, maybe I should copy paste some of it.
Yeah, you could do some. This way we have an idea.
Yeah, let me do that. Okay. We'll do number 1. Because it's just taking too long. I'm sorry. I'm very impatient. So let's do these first 2.
Okay.
There we go. So what I usually do is you can right click and do copy and then go down to the bottom, scroll down, and then just hit Control V, or you can do a right click and paste, right? And so for the first one, all right, so you can highlight. So let's say, so for number 1, relationship between a sample and a statistic is the same as the relationship between. Does anyone know this one?
Say A.
Yeah, A is correct. So you can go ahead and highlight, and there's, I think it's this one, the background color, and there we go. You've just highlighted it. Does everyone see how I did that? So if you hover over the actual button, it'll tell you, right, what it is. So this is the text color. This is the background color. Right? So that's one. And then in here, you can just go ahead and type in the answers, right? So what scale of measurement, numbers that are used to identify a political affiliation. That would be nominal, ordinal, or scale.
Nominal.
Nominal. So you can just put your answer in there, right?
Okay.
So you just basically type it in here, okay? Now, when we go to, I wanted to show the table. So here, number 8. Oh, by the way, don't worry about number 7. I'm not sure that you can actually draw this in that text box, so don't worry about it. Okay.
Describe it.
Just if you can figure it out, great. But I'm not going to mark off if you can't. If you can't.
Maybe we could just give you the definition.
Or yeah, you can do that, or you can describe what it would look like, right? So you could do that as well. But don't worry about drawing it, okay? I realized afterwards, I was like, oh, shoot. That's going to be a little hard to do. What I've done in the past, and the reason why it's in there is because I've actually had people, I actually had students submit their work. They would work it out and then they would submit like a PDF file, and so they were able to draw it. And this time I was like, no, I'm not going to do that, because I really want students to practice working with Canvas Math Editor, okay? Because of the test. All right, so number 8 is one of those where you need to work into the box, right? Work in the text box. And so I'm going to go ahead and copy paste it here. I'm doing a Control V. That's why you can't see it.
Right.
Doing Control C and Control V. All right. So here it's telling you to put in, right, the frequency, right? So how many times do we see 0 or 1, right? So you can actually type into the table. This is what's really cool, is if you just copy paste it, you just basically type in your answer into this table, okay? And so here, let's see, there are 3, right?
Right.
3, 0 to 1. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. 4 to 5.
5.
5. Okay, cool. 6 to 7.
4.
4.
0.
0. Cool. And then
2.
2. All right. Awesome. Everyone got that?
Yes.
All right. So we know that the n is 20. So for the relative frequency, right? The relative frequency is going to be 3 divided by 20, right? Which is equal to, and by the way, simple calculator, right? This is what you need to use, or a version, something like this, right? So 3 divided by 20, that gives us 0.15, right?
Yes. So now you want it percentage?
Yeah. It's percent, because it's not asking you for percentage, it's asking you for relative frequency. So that means proportion.
Okay.
Right? The proportion is a decimal. Okay? 6 divided by 20, and so on and so forth. So you can actually you can show your work right in the actual table itself. Okay? Make sense?
Beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that cool? I know. That's why I was like, it's not as hard as it seems, right? So let's take a look at another one. The measures of central tendency. Let's do this one. Because I want to make sure that you guys see this as well. So I'm going to copy this one. Again, copy paste, right? Control C, Control V. So here, what I would suggest doing, and I showed students yesterday how to do this, is to actually create a table so that you can just put your numbers in there, okay? And so here's the button to actually create the table. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 3, actually no, 1, 2, and it only goes to 10. So we'll need to, and I'm going to shrink this up a little bit because it doesn't need to be this. Oh. Okay. Oh my goodness, now it's like, all right, guys. All right, let me delete that. Oh, let me start over. I don't like that table. Here we go. Sorry.
No, you're.
Here we go. I just don't like having it so big. Let me do this real quick. Okay, notice how you got the arrows here? Everyone see the arrows, how I'm actually making it a smaller table that I can actually manipulate, right? So there we go. So here, what I would do is I would actually put in, right, and I would do it in order, and I don't know if I can, do you guys see the actual numbers? Can you tell me how many zeros there are?
Oh. 1, 2.
Girl,
How many?
2, 1 out each way.
2? Okay. How many ones?
1,
There's 1. 2s, there's
1,
1,
3.
2, 3.
Just 3.
Okay. And then 3s.
There's 1, 2, 3.
Notice how I'm putting them in order. Do you know why I'm doing that?
So it's easier to look at,
Yeah, it's easier to look at, but it's also going to be easier for you to figure out what the median is,
with the median.
Oh,
right? Because you have to put them in order. Okay, so make sure, you know, when you're putting together the table, go ahead and put it from smallest to largest, so that way you can easily figure out what that median is, right? That, which is one of the measures of central tendency. Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll start with this. Okay. So I'm gonna add real quick. Now notice when I'm in here, when I'm actually inside the table, you have up here the actual, there's more buttons, right, that you can do. So what I want to do is I want to actually insert a row above, and so I'm gonna call this row X, and this is gonna be and here's the math editor. And I'm going to put x squared in here, but I'm going to use math editor to do that. So notice it's the x with the square root, right? So and notice it says insert math equation, okay? So I'm going to click on that. And you'll notice you've got basic, here's where your Greek letters are, all your Greek letters. So when you're having to do mu or sigma, right? Here they are, okay? But it's under this tab, Greek, where it says Greek. And here, and so going back to the basic, I'm looking for the square. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in this box, X, and then I'm gonna click on the superscript, right? And then I'm gonna insert a 2. And there you go. You've just done x squared.
Oh,
Okay?
great.
Now, you just basically go ahead and enter all of your squared numbers, right? So 0 squared is 0, 0 squared is 0, this is 1, this is 4, this is 4, this is 4, 3, 3, 3, and then on and so forth, right? So you would just go down the list, right, and do that. Now, when you're done with all of this, we have to add them, right, in order to calculate the standard deviation, right? We need to add all of the x values, and we need to add all of the squared values.
Why
right?
would it be 3 instead? Why would it be 3 when you do the x squared? Would it be 9 or
Oh
stays
my God, yes. Hello. Thank you for catching that. Good catch. Just checking to see if you're paying attention. Not really, but yeah. Good catch. Yes, that would be 9. Thank you for catching that. Yes, that would definitely, and yes, be careful when you're doing this yourselves, right? To make sure that you're not making those errors. And also what I see with what students will do as well is instead of squaring it, I'll see a 6 here.
Yeah.
Instead of a 9. Okay, so be really careful that it's squared 3 times 3. Okay.
Quick question.
So, yeah, go ahead.
That's what I'm confused on. Why would it be x squared?
Because of the formula, and let me go to real quick. Let me go. Oh wait, where is it? Oh dear. Hold on. I need to log back in. Access denied. Oh, because I'm in. Okay, I'm in here right now. I have to go back out of here.
Would the formula be in the PowerPoints?
Actually, it's in the modules.
Okay, give me a second. I'll look it up right now.
I can go back. It's not that big deal. Here,
Okay.
let's go back. Let's go up at the top. Let's go into modules. I'll show you where it's at. And does everyone know while we're here in the modules? So, by the way, this is the video that shows you how to use the math equation editor. So you can actually use this, and there's a practice quiz as well that you can actually do. This is for practice, you know, if you want to practice before you start doing the lab, okay? Just real quick while I'm here, the PowerPoints and the video lecture, my video lectures, so it would be my video lectures that I've actually like, you know, it's me talking about the PowerPoints, okay, and also about the material. So if you haven't looked at those yet, make sure you do, okay? So they're all here. You can actually print out the PowerPoints if you want, and take notes as you go along. As you can see, here's the chapter 1 video lectures. I think there's 5 of them. Yeah, there's 5. There's 4 for chapter 2, 3. There's 2 for chapter 3, and there's 3 for chapter 4. So there's a lot of information here. And some of the information that's here is going to be on the exam, and it's not in the text. Okay, so you might want to check that out. Okay. All right, let's go back. Let me go back to modules. I'm sorry, I'm doing all the scrolling. Okay, here we go. So back to, or actually it's in the sample. Oh, it was actually in the sample exam. I thought it was in here. The formula sheet, here it is.
Oh.
Yeah, silly me. It's already there. So here's the formula sheet right here. And it's gonna open up as a new tab. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, there. Oh, it's at the bottom here in my screen. Hold on. I've got tool on. It's a PDF, so it's open up. It's going to open up as a new tab. So to answer your question about what formulas, right? So the x, adding up all the x's and squaring them, and then squaring each of the individual x values is because you're trying to get to the variance. This is sample variance, and to the sample standard deviation. Okay, and it makes it a lot easier, and it's also more accurate, especially when you're dealing with not fractions, but decimals. Okay, so let me go back here, and let's go ahead and
Question 15, I think.
you have a question? Go ahead, ask.
No, it was problem 15, question.
Problem 15? Oh, yeah, there we go. Here it is. Thank you. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and add that table again. Okay. And then the arrow, so make it a little smaller. And then the numbers, right? So it was 0, 0. Oh, whoop. We'll do X here. And then squared, insert equation. And then it was 0. I did it again. Tab is tab is what you should be using, or just arrow down. There's 3 zeros. I'm just gonna.
I think it was 2
How many
0.
ones? Was it 2 ones?
Yes, 2 0.
One.
Or was it 1?
Yeah, it was only 1.
It was only 1? Okay.
And it was only 2 zeros.
2 zeros? Oh, I'm really screwing this up. Sorry about that. Here, let me do this. Hold on. I'm in here. Let me just delete column, delete table, no, delete row. Okay, there we go. Okay, so 0, 0, 1, 2, 2, 2. So that gives you kind of an idea, right? So just basically put in all of your numbers and then just your squares. So 0 squared, 0 squared, that's still 1. This is going to be 4, 4, 4. And it was 3s, right? We had 3s and 3s, so 9 and 9, right? And then I want to add, go ahead and add a row. And here I'm going to go ahead and add all of my x's. And the reason why I'm adding all of the x's, and I'm going to go to the, oh, actually, it's right here, is because I'm going to need to square this for that formula. So by adding up all the x's, it's going to be, let's say, CCC, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and insert that here. Okay? Does everyone see that?
Yeah.
So I'm not giving the answers, but you're going to want to write down what that actual, and this is why in the table itself, you can put all of this information. And then when you get into calculating the actual measures, you can just plug in the numbers into the actual formula, right? So when you get to measures of central tendency, when you're wanting to do your mean, right, you're going to do, oh wait, the fraction here, and you're going to put in your summation x, and it's divided by n, right? And then you're going to click out of that formula and put your equal sign and do the fraction again, and it's going to be CCC divided by whatever your n is, right? BBB, okay? And then equal to whatever your XXX is. Okay, does that make sense? So this, actually, let me go back. Is it gonna let me go back in there? I forgot to put the M in there. Let me go back, hold on. So it's M equal to, and it's important for you to go ahead and put, what happened? Whoop. This does happen, so make sure you click in the actual, which I didn't do. There we go. Notice how it turns white when you're in the actual, box to type. So there you go. So it'll be fraction again, CCC divided by BB. Oh, see, I did it again. Yeah. And then make sure, I'm going too fast, that's why. And then it's going to be XX, right? And there you go. So this will be how you present the sample mean, okay? And then in here, you're going to want to actually do right? Once you find out what your summation of x is, right, you're going to put that, you're going to actually put it in here. Whatever that number is and square it, and then have whatever that is, right? Y. Okay. And that way, you do all of your calculations in the actual table here, and then when you get to measures of variability where you're having to enter the actual formula. So if you're doing a sample, a sample variance, right, S squared, and we're going to do this. Remember that the equation is summation x squared, and make sure you stay in the numerator, minus, and it's another fraction. I know it looks scary, but it really isn't.
Did you want to put parentheses?
Yeah, thank you. I just realized I needed to do that. E of x, yes. And then, whoop. And notice how my cursor is not in the numerator, right? So make sure you get back into the numerator. And, whoop, not cute. not cubed, but squared. And this is minus m, and then into the denominator n minus 1. And this is going to be equal to, what happened here?
Oh, no.
Oh, did I do that again?
Mhm.
Oy vey. All right. I'm going too fast. I'm trying to get in there too quickly. Here we go. And then I'm in the denominator. There we go. There we go. And so as you can see now, you can just go in and put in the actual numbers, right? Once you've calculated in the table, all you need to do is put in what is the sum of x squared, right? What is the sum, the x, all the sum of, actually all the squared x's, what is the sum? Okay, back up. So here you're going to square all of your x's first and then add it up, right?
Mhm.
Once you get that answer, that's what goes in this area, right? In the second part of the numerator, you're going to add up all of your x values, right? And you're going to take that summation and square that and then divide it by n, okay? And then you're going to subtract these two and then divide by n minus 1. And this is for the sample variance, okay?
The n
Yeah.
would it be all the numbers that we have?
Yes,
Already?
it's the number,
Or just-
exactly. Yes, n is the number of data that you have in the data set.
Okay, so
So,
basically we have them in the column, right? Right when we get them,
mhm.
we got a set of numbers. So basically, how many numbers are there? That's going to be the n.
Yes, exactly. That's going to be your n. Yeah, the number. Yes, exactly. You count up, or sometimes it's stated in the actual problem itself. It'll tell you a sample of 20 students.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you don't have to count it up. So read the problem, because sometimes I'll give you these little hints, right, that tell you, or I'll put like n equal to, you know, and so it'll be in the actual problem itself to kind of speed up the process a little bit, so you don't have to redo it on your own. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so does that help?
Yes.
So that's how you would go in here and actually, you don't have to actually put the formula, but you do have to put the symbol that you're using. And it's important because I want to make sure that you understand which symbol goes with what. So S squared is a sample variance. Sigma squared is a population variance, right? The Greek letters, if you're using Greek letters, that's only for population data, right? And if you're using the Roman alphabet, right? A, B, C, right? Then you're dealing with sample data, okay? And so make sure that you've got the right symbols, okay? Oh, and then the other thing that we talked about last night, and I want to mention this just really briefly. Which one was it? This one. I want to do number 11 real quick. Just real quick. Just to show what you need to do. Okay, so this particular problem, so notice that it says a sample of 30 drivers. So what's your n?
30.
30. Yep. There you go. So you don't have to count anything. You don't have to add up the frequencies. You know immediately, okay, we're dealing with 30 drivers, right? So if I go ahead and if I go in here into the actual table itself, notice how there's a pop-up, right? So I want to go ahead and add a column after, because I'm going to use this to square all of the numbers, okay? So what you'll notice is the x value is actually here, okay? The number of trips is the X value. The second column here is the frequency. It's how many times this X value shows up in the data set, right? So this is what we call a frequency table. This was in chapter 2, right? And so when you're going in to figure out what the mean and what the X, you know, what the squared numbers are, right? You have to remember that these are the X values, right? So this is how you should remember to do this, right? So this is going to be 1 happens once, right? So it's going to be 1 squared, right? So it's going to be, hold on, let me do this way. So it would be 1, this is just 1, right? 2 happens once, right? So that's going to be 4, okay? 3 happens once, so this is going to be 9. Let me just do it this way. It's going to be easier. I'll show you. So 4 squared is 16, right? Yeah. But it happens twice. So it's actually times 2.
Okay.
So this would be 32. Yeah, exactly. Okay. 5, this is 25. It happens twice, right? So this is 50. 6 is 36, and it happens 3 times, and that's going to be equal to whatever that is, right? Yeah. And on and so forth. So you need to square the X first. You get that?
And then multiply it by the...
Right, and then multiply it by the frequency, okay, for the X squared. This is for X squared, okay? And I'm not X squared, okay? All right? Now, when you're trying to figure out the mean, where you're supposed to add them all up, right? What you're going to need to do is you're going to actually need to multiply 5 times 2 or 4 times 2, right? So it's going to be 8. So when you're adding these up, right, it's going to be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 8 plus 10 plus 18 plus 21 plus 32. Does everyone see that?
Okay, yeah. So you multiply them across
Yeah.
the frequency of the number of trips?
To get the summation of X, yes.
Oh, okay. And then
that's the mean, right? You have to multiply these across. You cannot just add the X's.
Okay.
Okay? Right? You need to multiply these across.
Wow.
Okay? But we could actually add a quick row too here. We could do it this way. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. Delete the row. Where is it? I want a column. Add a column. So we could do it this way. Here we go. So this would be, so this, if we wanted to do the summation, so let's do this as summation of X, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we're going to do the summation of X. So this is going to be 1. So it's going to be 1 times 1, 2 times 1, 3 times 1, 4 times 2, which is 8, 10, right?
18,
18,
21,
21, right? 32, and on and so forth. Okay, and then when you add these numbers, when you add them, right? And then you can actually add a column. You can actually add a row at the bottom here, right? This is going to be your summation of X, right? And I'm just going to copy this and do it here. Oh, shit. I don't know what I just did. That was weird. Oh, that's what happened.
Copy pasted.
Huh? I did not want to do that. Now I just deleted everything. There we go. Okay. So yeah, so you would just go ahead and, since it's not working, it doesn't want to work for me. V of X equal to, right? whatever that number is. Okay.
Mhm.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of students get tripped up with this one. Now, for the exam itself, I am not going to do this to you. Okay. But I do want you to understand how the numbers are actually, how they're how to work it from a frequency table.
Yeah. Okay.
But the test is going to be very similar to something like this. So I'm going to give you like a list of, I'm going to list out the numbers for you, and it's going to be like column A, column B, or it's going to be just one column, right? And you're just going to need to do the calculations. Okay?
But wait a minute. For the test, we still need to figure out the mean,
Mm-hmm.
which we
Yes.
still need.
Yes, but and that's the other question too yesterday that came up, was when I asked for the measures of central tendency, and this is something that the book talks about. There are 3 measures of central tendency, and there are 3 measures of variability. Okay, so the 3 measures of central tendency are
Mean, median.
mean, median, and mode.
Mhm.
Right? The mean, median, and mode. The measures of variability are, do you remember?
Range.
Range.
Standard deviation and
Yep.
variance.
And variance, yeah. So what's really cool is that when you measure variance, right, standard deviation is really simple to calculate because it's just the square root, right? Standard deviation is equal to the square root of variance, right? I noticed there was one of the labs that was turned in, and somebody put in IQR. I don't know why. Nowhere in any of the textbooks do I talk about IQR, none in the lecture videos, so no. The 3 measures of variability, 3 measures of central tendency, and that's it. Okay? So that's what you need to make sure, and you need to make sure that you show your work just like this, right? So it's easy. Once you get the hang of it, once you start practicing it, it gets a lot simpler, right? Adding everything in there. The other thing is make sure you double check your numbers, right? Make sure you go through and double check the squares and the additions and all of that good stuff. Okay. All right, so that's lab 2. I think I covered everything. Paris, what do you think?
I just have a couple of questions, if I can ask.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stephanie, you can also ask questions too if you have any.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here.
Well, it's on this, so maybe, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So question number 5. 5C.
Okay.
So the answer is discrete because it's 50 words to memorize. Is that how?
Well, what is your independent variable?
So I have, well, independent is the type of music, right? Dependent is the number of words.
So the independent variable is the type of music.
Mhm.
So is that discrete or continuous?
So it's discrete.
Discrete, correct. Yeah, it's discrete.
Okay.
Yeah, because type of music is what kind? Is it nominal, ordinal, or scale?
So type of music. I don't know.
No.
Is it scale because it's not?
No, not scale. Is it a number? Does it represent some kind of number?
No.
No. Type of music. Think of like classical rock or classical music or R&B or rap or
So it's ordinal?
not ordinal. Ordinal represents order.
Nominal?
Nominal. Yeah, it is nominal. Why? Why is it nominal?
Because like it says here, it's like names and it says labels, qualities.
Yes, exactly, right? So it's representing a category, right? So type of music is a category. We're just naming the category, right? So nominal represents the category. So a types of music or Anytime you see like types of pets or types of cars, right? It kind of gives you the idea that, oh, wait a minute, we're classifying things into categories, right?
Yeah.
And so whenever we're classifying something into categories, it's going to be nominal. Okay?
And why would it be discrete? Because
Discrete, because nominal data is always discrete. See, that's the other trick, right? So if you understand, okay, so if this is nominal, then the only other, it can only be discrete. It can never be continuous,
okay.
right?
That's good. And then the number 6. So question number 6.
Yeah.
So the independent is the amount of exercise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dependent is the amount of sleep.
Okay.
It is a continuous.
Which one?
What do you have?
The dependent.
Ah, yes, here. Yeah, the dependent.
So the amount of sleep is continuous.
Yes, absolutely, because it's the number of hours, right? Can you divide hours into minutes, into seconds, into fractions of a second? And so that makes it continuous.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because you can actually take that and turn it into a much more precise number. Right? So anything that you can measure, like time, length, width, weight, all of those are all continuous data.
Okay.
Anything you can measure is continuous.
Okay.
Anything you can count, or that you could just count, right? You got to count up the number, then that's discrete.
So count up the number would
Yep.
be discrete.
If you're counting, if you have to count, then it's discrete. If you're measuring something, then it's continuous.
Okay.
I think this is, I think I talk about it in my videos. I'm not sure. I hope I did.
If it's continuous, automatically it becomes a measurement data.
Well, what do you mean by measurement data? I see what you're saying. Measurement data are categorical. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Continuous is always measurement. Yes.
Okay, great. And then it's a scale measurement of
correct.
Scale. And scale because it's an amount, because it's an amount, like amount
of exactly, because it's an amount. Yes.
Reliever work or amount of
it makes sense, right? That number makes sense. It's measuring something. Yeah.
Very good.
Yay.
So maybe the rest of the questions will be this afternoon.
It's 5 o'clock. Oh yeah, that's right. Don't forget. Yeah, I sent out an announcement just before I started this review session for the on-campus review session at 5 o'clock in BEH 1305. So. So hopefully I'll get some more students who come.
And how long do you think we'll be allowed to be with you?
Well, probably about an hour or so.
Okay.
Yeah, and an hour and a half, something like that.
Okay.
Yep.
Would we be able to do one problem together if by any chance would that be possible?
Sure. What problem did you want to try?
Could I try number 13?
Number 13?
Yeah. I just want to be able to see.
Oh, yeah, this one. This one's cool. I like that. This is one of my favorite problems. Because just looking at the data, you can already see that it's telling you something, right? And so I know for you guys, for some of you, it's like, what? I don't see anything. But for me, and once you start playing with the numbers, you're going to start to actually see what it's trying to tell you. So if you look at this data, okay, what you'll notice is that 5 is all by itself over here with 1, right? There's one person that scored a 5. Okay, let's say that this is a I don't know, a 12-point quiz or something. Okay, so
So that would
somebody
be like
scored a
the lowest-
5. What?
So that would be kind of like the lowest score.
Yeah, that would be the lowest score. And then no one scored a 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah.
4 people scored 9. 6 scored a 10. And 7 scored 11 and 12.
Yeah.
Okay? Right?
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at this, what you'll notice is that this definitely is skewed data,
Yeah.
right? Where are most of our scores? At the
Towards,
high end or at the low end?
the high.
At the high end, right? Yeah.
Oh, it would basically kind of be like.
They're all over here.
Yeah.
9, 10, 11, 12, right?
Does that mean it would be like a positive?
Not a positive skew, because remember, the positive skew is where, and I'll use my cursor. The positive skew is where all the numbers are at the low end of the scale.
Oh, okay. So
It's a negative skew, right? Because the numbers are at the left side. Most of the numbers, think of this here, think of this. If you were to flip it on its side, right? Flip.
Oh, it would be towards the left.
Towards the left, right? Yeah, just flip it. Exactly. Just flip it on its side and you'll notice, okay, all my numbers are on the left.
So it would
So
be
it's a left
basically kind
skew.
of like going towards the opposite of positive. It'd be negative if it's on the left-hand side.
Yeah. So if all the numbers are on the left, it's a left skew. If all the numbers were up here, let's say, so this would be like an example of a really easy test, right?
Yeah.
That everybody got good grades, but you had the one person who got a bad grade.
Great.
Right?
Okay.
And then if it's a really hard test, right? A really tough test, you're going to have a lot of scores at the bottom, right, on the
Which would be a
right,
positive
and
skew.
very few scores at the high end. And that would be the positive skew.
Oh, okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Woohoo! Yay! And okay, so the other question here, the B, what's the mode?
Yes, that's what I was confused on as well.
So do you remember what does the mode mean?
Would that be? Let me check.
That's okay.
Let me see.
And anyone else can pipe in. Hi, Elmira.
Well, don't we line them up from smallest to highest?
They already are.
Okay, but then we go to the middle. So
No, we're not looking for the median. We're looking for the mode. The mode is the most frequent.
Wait, so it'd be the most repeated number.
Yeah, the most repeated. So which one has the highest frequency?
11 and 12.
11 and 12. So if this is a bimodal, right? So there's 2 modes. So 11 and 12. Yep.
Oh, so that's what bimodal is all about.
Yeah. Yes.
So for the
what's up?
So for B, it would be 11 and 12.
Yep. Correct.
Oh, okay.
And then will we also put bimodal as well?
What's that? No, you wouldn't have to. You don't have to say that it's bimodal.
Okay.
But we'll get extra credit.
Well, no, because I just told you, but that's funny.
But no, it's nice. Honestly, it's nice to finally link the words to the actual prompt.
Right.
We just did
Exactly. To see the numbers and go, oh, that's what that means. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, C is asking which number would be considered an outlier?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be the number that is towards the far end, I guess, of the?
Yes, far away from the rest.
Yeah. So if it be like, okay, got it. So it would have to have like a value of 1, or if it didn't have a value of 1 and it was just 0, would there still be an outlier or no?
No, no. 0 means that these don't exist. And remember, these are the X values, right? So the number, what X value would be considered an outlier
It
in
would
this
be the 5
distribution?
because it has one frequency.
No,
One.
it's not necessarily one frequency. It's the one that's the furthest away from the rest of the numbers.
Okay.
Notice
So
how
it,
all the rest are here,
mhm.
right?
Only
And
5.
5 is way over there.
Okay, so the frequency wouldn't really matter just as
No.
long as it
No.
would be the distance.
It's the actual score. Remember,
Oh,
yeah. What I should put which score would be
oh,
considered.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
5, 11.
Great questions.
Yeah. How long do we have you?
Till 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
You have me till 12. You bet. Yep. Any other questions about the test itself? Remember, you can't use any outside sources or resources. So no tablets or cell phones or graphing calculators. You can have tabs open just like I have up here, right? So if you have, so you'll have your exam open. You can have your formula sheet. Either my suggestion would be to actually print this out and have it out, and to actually label all of these so that way when you're in the actual exam itself, you know exactly what these are, right? And another hint that I gave last night, and I'll give you as well, and for those of you who are watching this after the review session, what you'll notice is that I put all of the population, except for the R, the range, all the population formulas, population data formulas on the left, and all of the sample formulas, all the sample data formulas on the right. So this is the population mean, this is the sample mean, this is population variance, this is sample variance, right? This is population standard deviation, this is sample standard deviation, right? And so my suggestion, and use the computational, these formulas, don't use these. And the reason I recommend, I mean, you can use them if you want to, but typically when students make calculation errors, it's when they're using these formulas. There's a lot more room for error with these formulas, okay? Less room for error here.
So the bottom 4.
Yeah, the bottom 4. That's my recommendation. However, if you're comfortable using these and you feel like, you know what, I got this, I can do this, this is just more steps. These are less steps. This will take more, these 4 will take more time. These 4 will take less time. And remember that the test is timed. You get 2 hours to do the exam.
How many questions again on the exam?
I don't remember how many questions. I want to say 30, but there's some calculations and there's multiple choice, and there are extra credit questions on the exam as well. So make sure you watch the lecture videos, and yeah.
And then, so are we allowed to write it down and then put it on the chart? Because
Well, no, not really. My suggestion is to do the writing on the actual exam itself.
oh, okay, because my brain kind of works.
About writing it down?
Yeah.
I just worry that you'll run out of time.
It'll be this, and then my life again. Because I'm not at all. I mean, I'm using no computers.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you need to do the scratch paper, that's fine. That's okay. I just,
boom, 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 and then,
yeah, and then you can just transfer it. It's just watch your time.
yes.
That's my biggest worry, is that you'll run out of time, and I don't want that to happen to you.
Okay.
Right. And the other thing is you'll also want to have Cengage open. Not this one, but Cengage open. I've logged out. Oh, darn it. Silly. Okay. So you'll want to have it open so that you can actually access, right? So that you can access your textbook, right? So Mind Tap, and your textbooks or your reading material will be here, right? So you'll want to get in there and actually, if you need to. I recommend knowing the information going into the exam so that you don't have to look it up.
Yeah.
Right.
If we have the hard copy book, like the loose.
That's
paper.
fine.
Okay.
That's okay too. That
Okay.
is okay. And then remember that tonight, the other things that are due are also the Mind Tap homework, right? Now,
Yes.
a lot of, I noticed that some students are actually doing the mastery training, and I don't know how much time students are using, but it's great that you're doing all of this. This is wonderful, but it's practice. So if you feel that this is helping you, great, continue doing it, but you don't have to do this. The chapter, notice how there's a due date, right? That's what's actually required, okay? So if you go into the review chapter, one of the quick things I want to show you is that for each of these questions, you can actually check your work. So statistical analyses that allow us to study samples and make a generalization. So, okay, I'm going to go with B, right? I'm going to, instead of going through all of these and submitting your answers, you can actually click on the right here and see, oh, shoot, I got that wrong. So let me go back, right? And let me put D instead. And now I'm going to check my work. It's correct, right? And now you're good to go. And then you can go to number 2, right? So you can check to see whether you got this right or wrong. I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
Yes. Will this help us for the test?
These questions, yeah, there's some questions that are similar.
Okay.
Oh yeah, some of these questions, you know, they're pretty similar. So knowing information here, but here's the other thing too on the lab. Here's the thing with the task, with the exam, I'm not asking definitional definitions, right? What I'm asking for is application. So I'm going to give you kind of like a scenario, and you need to be able to identify what that scenario is. Like, for example, like to go back, like this, right? So a researcher is curious about the average age of drivers in the city of Columbus. He obtains a database of every driver in the city and calculates the average. This is an example of what is it? So first of all, when you're reading this, right, he obtains a database of every driver. Are we dealing with population or sample data?
Population.
Population data, right? And so for population data, what kind is it, a statistic or a parameter that we're dealing with?
Parameter.
Parameter. How do you remember? Population, parameter, P and P, right? Sample, statistic, S and S, right? That's how you always remember, right? P and P, S and S. Sample, statistic, population, parameters. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is very similar to what I ask. All right. So I'll give you a question similar to not this one, not exactly this one, but something that's similar to that, and it's going to ask you. It's an example of what?
So
right?
here,
It's a parameter.
It's
right?
the parameter.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's correct.
Very good.
Okay. So that's, and having, and then I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. Yeah, having the book, right? Having the book available. If you have a hard copy, great. You can actually leaf through it. The library, I don't know if some of you have problems with Proctorio, but our library has computers with Proctorio set up, so you can actually do it at the library. And there is a Graviter text and essentials on loan, or not, well, they should have one there in the reference if you ask them. So you can check it out for a couple hours if you need to. Okay. So yeah, what else? A simple calculator, no graphing calculators, all that good stuff. I've already, I think, talked about that too. So yeah. So that's the exam. Yeah. Any other questions?
No.
The measures of variability, like, okay, just B. Do you see that? A,
Yes.
B. Okay,
Mhm.
measures of central tendency. We got the mean, the median, and the mode.
Yes.
Measures of variability, as you said, the range,
Variance,
deviation.
variance and standard deviation. Yeah.
right? And then compare the two groups.
Ah, the comparing. That's the fun part. This is where, right? This is where you need to really think about what the numbers are actually telling you, right? So it's not just calculating the numbers, but understanding what they mean. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you get, so let's say, let's pretend, okay? Let's pretend that our measures of central tendency are, here, let me go in here real quick. I'm still in student view. So let's pretend, oh, it's still here, cool. All right, so let's pretend measures, so our mean is equal to 10, our mode is equal to, I don't know, pick a number.
2.
2, all right. And our median is equal to, let's say 8, or no, let's make it 9, okay? And let's say that a range, range is equal to, Freud would have a lot to say about that. Range is equal to, let's say, I don't know. It doesn't matter, because it really doesn't matter. Let's say variance is equal to say 5. Oh no, wait. Let's make this one like 25. And then, yeah, S is equal to 5, right? And then if we were to look at, oh, it's not going to let me do this. Okay. So mean 1 is equal to 10, and let's say mean 2 is equal to also 10, right? So we're doing 2 different data sets, right? I'm just making numbers up. This is not the actual numbers, okay? Mode is equal to 5. And the median for the second, let's see, median is equal to, we'll say 10 as well. And then for this one, S squared, is equal to, this is, let's say this one is equal to 4, and then that makes our S equal to 2, okay? Now notice how these numbers are different, right? So let me kind of push these out a little bit so you can see. Okay, so here are your 2 data sets, okay? So data set number 1, you've got your mean, your 3 measures of central tendency, your 3 measures of variability. And then data set number 2, you've got your 3 measures of central tendency and your 3 measures of variability, right? Now, in order to write where it says compare the 2 groups based on the means and the standard deviations, right? So you've got means, whoops, this was 10, right? So here, the 2 means are the same, right? Or even the medians are similar as well, right? So what does that tell you? What do means tell you about data? What does it mean?
The mean is the sum of.
You guys know this. It's
of all
what?
the scores. The mean would be the sum of all the scores divided by the number of scores in the data.
Right, exactly. So what does that give you? In you know, we use the mean. We say it's the mean in statistics, but how do we use it in real life? What's the word? What's the other word that we use?
It's basically an average, right?
Right, exactly. It's an average, right? It's your typical value, right? So what you can write here is that the average or the typical value that we see in both of these data sets is 10, and they're the same, right? So the averages are the same for both of these groups, right? Does everyone see that?
Yeah.
Okay. What about the standard deviation? What does that tell us?
It's the number that it's expected to deviate from the mean.
Right, but what does that mean?
Is it like the sampling error, or?
It could be error, yeah. But in English, the way that the way to think of standard deviation in layman's terms, if you were to explain this to someone who wasn't taking statistics, you would say that that's the typical distance, right, away from the mean, right? So it's kind of like, this is, on average, this is how far away. You're right about the deviation from the mean, right? This is on average how far away the scores are from the actual mean. So it's an average distance. It's a typical distance, right? Does that make sense?
Wait, so for the first
Yeah.
one, if
Uh-huh.
x equals 5,
Right.
and the
So
mean
your
is-
typical distance is 5,
uh-huh.
right? So that means that our numbers deviate on average 5 points from the mean.
Okay.
Okay, on average for this first group, right, the scores deviate from the mean by 5 points. And our second group, right, the scores deviate on average by 2 points. So when you look at this, right, so the way that you would explain this, right, remember comparing the two groups, right, based on the deviations, the standard deviations, which one has more distance? Which one has less distance? Which one has more deviation? Which one deviates
The first.
deviates the most?
The first.
The first group, right? So basically what this says, this is telling us that this group has a lot more variability. With me so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because this is 5 points, right? 5 points away on average from the mean versus 2 points on average from the mean, this one has a lot more variability and this one has less variability. So when you're writing this up, right, you would say that group A, right, whatever group A is, right, based on the means, right, both groups on average have a typical average of 10, okay? But when it comes to variability, right, group A has more variability than group B, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how you would explain it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you have to understand what those numbers mean, right? Okay.
Okay.
Does that
Wow.
help?
That was, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's more of an interpretation. It's one of those questions where it's like, okay, great, you know how to calculate everything. Woohoo! That's exciting. Now explain it. Any other questions?
So when we talk about distribution, the shape, the value, the spread, is that,
Where's that?
what is a spread? Is that, are we looking at the
Variability. Variability is spread.
Nice.
Yep.
It's like a whole, I mean, I speak 4 languages fluently, but this statistics language is.
It's a whole new language. Yes. That's so true.
Okay, great, great, great.
The language is also tricky for me because they're words that we're used to using in different ways, and now
Yes.
we're using them in the math language. So I'm like positive and negative skewed. To me, I'm trying to use skewed in the regular definition, and now I have
Right.
these little mountains and these little tails and like,
Right, exactly. Yep, that's so true. Yep.
Okay, I think we got to put all this together.
You will. I know it's a lot. I feel so bad for you guys. It's like so much information and so little time.
Can I ask something? Is this the first time that you're doing an online class?
Oh no.
No. So,
I think this is my 4th class.
and then do you see that those that do online, do they get the scoring than actual being in a classroom setting?
I think it depends on the students. I mean, you're going to do well in either one of it's pretty comparable. You know, what happens on ground is the same as on online, especially in the stats classes, because the stats classes, I feel like students have been through a lot more college classes, and so they know what it takes to be more successful. And so by the time they get to this particular class, now it's like, oh yeah, I got this. I know I need to study every day for hours, and yeah, I need to be working on this. So they're pretty self-disciplined, and especially in the online environment, I tend to get, especially in the summer and the winter intersessions, I tend to get students who are a lot more motivated to get this done, and so they tend to do a lot better in the online environment.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, you guys have you can do this. And also the other thing too is when you're showing your work, here's the way that I grade. If you can show me that you understand the material, right? So you know, okay, here's the actual, I see that you're using the correct formula. I see that your calculations, and maybe like a small calculation error, I don't mark it all off, okay? Because I know there are some instructors that basically say you got the wrong answer, it's all wrong. I am not that instructor. I would never, ever do that to a student. And the reason for that is because I feel like there's a huge difference between someone who gets it but is making small calculation errors versus someone who has no clue, right? So I want to make sure that I differentiate between those two. So you do get partial credit. Calculation errors, I typically mark off like 1 or 2 points, right, depending on the calculation error. So it's really, are you understanding what's happening? But be careful with the calcs.
Okay.
Right. That's the biggie. That's the biggest thing for me is are you understanding what you're doing?
And this is worth 50 points?
Is it? I think I don't remember. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And remember, this is your first exam. So you kind of get a feel for what types of questions with the lab, right? So you get a feel for what the questions are going to be like on your exam. Also, you really have to understand this material because next module builds on this, right? So if you're stuck and you're not getting it, come see me or do ConferZooms and we'll just work through some more stuff. I'm here Monday through Thursday. I don't mind getting on ConferZoom and discussing this and working with you guys, or even on campus. If you want to pop in, let me know when you're going to be here. And as long as I'm not in a meeting, we can totally go into a classroom and just start cranking out some numbers, and working together until you get comfortable seeing a problem and knowing what to do with it. Okay.
Does NetTutor help out a lot?
NetTutor is a great resource. Yes. You can actually 24/7, because I'm not awake 24/7. I do go to bed. So when you're working on work, when you're online at midnight, I'm sleeping. So NetTutor is a perfect place to actually go to get some help. Yeah. So yes, I recommend NetTutor. Also, we also have a stats tutor. I'm going to add her. She just emailed me, and so I'm going to go ahead and add her in. She's only available on Mondays 10 to 3. So she is another resource as well. Martha. Her name is Martha. She's really awesome. She's really sweet. So I'll go ahead and add her in her class, so then you can just send her emails or chit chat with her as well.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I'm available. Don't think that, just because my virtual hours are from 10:30 to 12, that those are the only hours that I'm here. Okay. I am, like I said, I am on campus Monday through Thursday. I have access to my computer, so anytime, Monday through Thursday, you can pop in and say, "Hey, I need help," right? And I'll be here. Okay. And I'm also here some Fridays as well. I can also come in on Saturdays and Sundays. Not this Sunday because we have a barbecue that we're going to, but I'm available typically on weekends as well. So I will come in on weekends. I have been known to be here on Sundays and Saturdays, so to help students. So yeah, no, trust me, make me work for my money. I'm earning so much.
Now, when you say here, what does that mean?
What's that?
When you say you're here, where is that? Are you
or I'm here online or on campus.
And then is that
if you want to meet at Starbucks somewhere, we could totally go to Starbucks somewhere. Okay.
All right. So hopefully we'll see you today.
Later today. Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Just
Myra, Stephanie. First, you've been asking.
Is the recording going to be up today?
Yes. As a matter of fact, yes. I am recording, so I hope it worked. I'm fingers crossed.
And just, I was looking at the exam, and it's 60 points and 33 questions.
Oh, there we go. Okay. 60 points. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
That gets me.
So some of the questions are worth more. So like for the calculations, I have extra, so there are points for the work shown. That's why I say, please show all of your work, because there's specific points for that.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Of course, anytime. Elmira, did you have any questions?
No questions. We reviewed the questions that I had as well.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yay.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so
This was awesome.
much. See you next time.
All right. Sounds good. Bye. Awesome. There we go.